So you have history all the way down to the color.
Regular at our events, and I think it's you're a blogger, right? And
yeah, it's on Foreign Startup on YouTube.
okay, so and you post these videos on YouTube.
Foreign Startup.
Foreign Startup. Okay, great. So good. And I always ask like if it's okay for you guys to record. If not, then it's fine. Okay, good. So if you send over the link, and all of you can look up there. Well, thanks again for making it here. It's anybody who went to a lunch festival? Lunch? Yeah. Good. Anybody getting ready to go to the Game Developers Conference? There you go. Good, perfect. So there's a lot of stuff happening in Silicon Valley, and you got to make the right choices. You know what you want to go to, but don't diversify too much. You know, just focus. You know what's next with your background and area of interest, and but there's a lot of stuff happening here. About foreign startups, we started this roughly about a year and a half back, and the reason we did that is because I run an agency that actually specializes in different cultures nationally and globally, and so we were being reached out by some startups from across the world asking like if we can help them. And typically we work with brands, but we came up with the idea of actually launching an initiative that would enable them to actually connect with each other. That's the idea behind it. What we do is we bring together successful entrepreneurs like Emelia and Gabriel and on our platform, and we bring them in close contact with you to learn, to hear from them, to see how they did it. They hear the story and pick up nuggets of wisdom that actually you can apply to your startups or your ventures or whatever you're working on. So our vision, our goal is that you gain that wisdom today and take it back to your own and apply to your own businesses. Okay. What else? We do another quick thing here. It's foreign startups. Just to give you an idea, we have about 1,600 something members, 1,700 members, 1,700 members from about 110 or 220 different countries. Imagine that. So not everybody's from, obviously the big countries are there, China, Brazil, Japan, and then many other, India, Russia, some Ukraine, big Poland, big time. But there are like 100 plus countries. We have representation from many. So one thing we quickly do is like we go around the room quickly breezing through. It's like, which country are you from? So you just say on a country, you don't need to say your name or your startup or anything, just your country name. So just to get you an idea like where we all are coming from.
France.
Brazil.
Spain. France. Loudly, please. Australia.
Algeria.
Lebanon.
Italy.
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 Bulgaria.
Bulgaria. Okay.
Now Uruguay.
Uruguay. Yeah.
Wow. It's really,
Canada.
really international tonight.
Yeah. What's that? Sorry.
Israel.
Israel. Yeah. Brazil. Nice. Pablo.
Spain.
Venezuela.
Spain.
Spain. Okay.
Ukraine.
Ukraine. Okay. So you see how international our representation is. You usually don't see that kind of a mix if you walk into most of the meetups or mixers. So we really have a very international and mix up of entrepreneurs. So again, thanks. And what else? Anybody who wants to use the restroom is right outside the gate. Go on your right. You can take a break. We have two speakers today, and we're going to go through the speaking engagements, and then we're going to open up for Q&A. The idea behind having our speakers is to interact with you during obviously the discussion where you can hear the story, but later on also about if you have Q&A specific to your business, your startup, and you want to apply to how they did that. Both Emelia and Gabriel actually are currently in the batch 12 of 500 startups. So, wow, batch 12. So which means how many years did they start back?
I think 4 years.
4 years back, yeah.
2009, that's it.
Yeah.
So 3 batches per year. Right?
Yeah.
Wow. So it's a very sought after. There are a lot of accelerators, incubators in the market now, but getting a name from YC, getting a stamp from YC and 500 still means a lot, right? So we want to hear from them how they did that, and so again, Emelia, up to you, and please welcome Emelia and Gabriel.
Thank you, Pawan, for the invite, for inviting us here. I really enjoy your idea and your execution of this project. Congrats. Hi guys, nice to meet you all. We chatted a little bit earlier. My name is Emilia. I'm co-founder and CEO of Contentools. Contentools is a software for content marketing. We help business do their content creation, content management in an easier way. Because content marketing on a daily basis is not that easy. They have a lot of tasks to create content, to create articles for their blogs, for the company's blogs, social media, ebooks. It can go through writers, editors, designers, the manager himself or herself, and a lot of people involved. So instead of emails coming and going, a lot of versions of content, and a lot of Google spreadsheets, they can use Contentools. It's easier that way. So I want to tell a little bit more about how we started, how this idea started. A couple years ago, it was 2012, I'm a journalist. I used to work on TV. I used to run a TV news broadcasting thing, like 10 p.m. every day. It was fun. It was actually a lot of fun, but it was very repetitive. And I thought, I'm not learning anything anymore. On the side, I used to work with content marketing. I used to be a writer for one of Brazilian's largest banks. And then I moved to another bank. I used to write about personal finance. Oh, look at the banks there. Gabriel works with banking as well. So I used to write, and I used to work for a lot of companies on the side, like freelance, because journalists in Brazil only work like 5 to 6 hours per day. And we have a lot of time to spare, because we make so much money, we need more, right? But not. And once I left TV and I started working as an exclusive writer for one of these banks, they asked me to do that. I started rejecting some invitations for companies to write content for them. And I had to pass these jobs to other people, like journalists, coworkers of mine, and friends of mine. It started happening like a lot. In one morning once, I spent the entire morning doing that. Like, oh, I have to write about it. I can't, but this is the right person for you. And another invitation came on, and I passed to another person and another person, and I did that like 5 times in the morning. I was like, okay, I didn't work this morning because of that. What's happening? And I have to tell also that back then, my husband, Elton, who's here as well, he's one of the founders of Contentools with me. He was opening these incubator, accelerator. They don't have a name for it, really. It was a really early stage for ideas to come off the paper to become maybe a company, maybe not, to test. So he was opening this initiative. It's called WAP, with other entrepreneurs with him. They had 4 ideas lined up. And I talked to him about this idea of mine. Do you think it can be online? Like, what am I doing with emails coming and going and people meeting companies to write? Journalists don't have any idea how to find these jobs. Companies don't have any idea where to find these writers. Is that idea, can it stick? And Elton said, yeah, perhaps we'll have to do a lot of validations you'd have to research this and this and this and this and this. I've never heard of crowdsourcing or SaaS, software as a service. That was all new to me back then. And I was like, okay, as a reporter, I was out to search, to research and to learn about it. And I came up with a plan. This is the market. These companies are doing something similar, not quite as what I can do and what I think of doing. And I presented to his partners. And they loved the idea. They thought, oh, you can come along with us and be one of the entrepreneurs to try and validate that. We didn't have a name back then. We started testing with another name called Text Do. It's text and do, like it's awful. So we started testing a lot. And what we noticed is that companies needed, yes, content providers. Writers needed, yes, more jobs online to work with what they want to do best, and with less stress on like, pay me, I already did that, pay me. With us, they wouldn't have to do that with intermediated transaction. But starting to provide the service from day one, we had customers we started like, it's a B2B, it's, as Elton says, boring to boring. So if you're a business and you're selling to other businesses, you go out and you sell your products, you provide your product to learn. And then once we learned all the process of how to create content, how is it done, and Elton and I, we drew this entire workflow and we started like cutting all the edges. Okay, now we can make this workflow, this crazy workflow, into a software and provide this software to companies to do all that we were doing already, but in an easy way, an easier way. So that's how we began with Contentools. It was only me. Elton was a mentor back then, and 4 months later I hired, because we had like a couple customers, a couple dozens of writers and editors on board. And I was by myself, still working on the bank on half the part-time, because I had to pay my bills. And I didn't take a single penny from the company yet. I would do that only 1 year later. And I hired our first intern. And it was really interesting to have another person's view of the project back then. It was already 2013, and his view really, he did all the workflow with me, and we already have a software, and he helped me review our sales pitch, because I'm a journalist. What do you know about sales, right? I was actually interviewing our customers, and once they are interested, I sell to them. Yeah, it improved a lot in 2 years. A lot of things improved. And this intern, his name is Pedro, he became a partner. I consider him a co-founder. He came along 6 months after, but he is a co-founder. And he runs our intern sales now. He has like 8 people in his team. And we have total 25 people in Brazil, and 4 to be 5 next week. We just hired another person today here in the US. So a lot of things happened since we started this idea that became Contentools. And what is interesting to me is that all the changes we did to the product, all the learning process that's still happening, went through what we learned from our customers. All the time, any change or product or new feature, everything came when we used to interview. As a journalist, I did that a lot, still do, interview our customers like all the time. Like how are they finding these products? What do they need? What are the troubles they have in their businesses? And we found that only providing content, so like if I provided an article a blog post for a company, I was giving them a problem. It's a problem for a medium-sized business if I only provide them content, because they don't have time to manage that afterwards. They need that to be published on their website. And if I do go and publish on their website, I have another problem. I have to measure that and see if people are coming, if it's going right, and then I have to get insights from this data. It's not only, right? Oh, 100 people saw that. So what? So right now, from learning all these tricks are to provide all the process to content marketing. All medium-sized businesses, marketing manager, or maybe the entrepreneur himself need to communicate with their audience, drive people to their website, drive more leads, generate more opportunities to their businesses, close more deals. So we have on board 300 customers so far. We are just opening our operations here in the US. Here we have 5 customers so far. It's just the beginning. Our projections is to have 1,600 customers by the end of this year. We're growing 20% month after month. And we have 1,200 writers on the other side. And one of the things that I really like in Contentools is that I've never thought of creating a company to myself. Like it was a dream of mine to be a journalist. It was never a dream of mine to become an entrepreneur, you know? It's something that, to me, when I met Elton and started dating, and he said he was an entrepreneur, I thought, okay, he's a little bit crazy, but but he's okay. But he's a cool guy besides that. And to me, it was always like that. Elton's the entrepreneur, he's the risk taker. I'm a journalist, I have my paychecks, and I pay the bills. And taking this idea from scratch, from the paper, and turning these to delivering this product, this service to companies and to writers, it became a true passion for me. And to know that writers now at Contentools, a lot of great writers are only working with our platform. 20% of these 1,200 writers only work with Contentools because they want to. They could go to other platforms or to other, even to newspapers, or they are very talented people. They only work with us because it's easier for them to work there, because the jobs we have there are really targeted to them. It's what they want to do, and they make more money than I do, and I think that's awesome. More money, much more money than I imagined doing when I worked for TV there in Brazil. So we have, we're, as I said, just starting here, it's just the beginning. I've been here in San Francisco twice before moving here. The first time we were part of this mission, we call it a corporate mission for startups there. It was the first mission our state had here, and I was the only girl in the group. We have like 15 startups from Santa Catarina, my state in Brazil, the south of Brazil. And I was the only girl, and we were presenting to this event and getting to know Silicon Valley, and like going to Google and Facebook and Apple, what we do when I come here the first time. Yeah, and it was really a place to come, really. It was like opportunities were here, and we had insights for our company and for our products that there are things that only happen here. Last time we were here in the end of 2014 for another mission for Demo Day for Startup Brazil. We were part of Startup Brazil, that is a program for startups there, a national program. We were here and we changed our product like a whole lot. We started providing content with a tool that helped companies have this content provided. The last time we were here, we had a terrible meeting, like an awful meeting with a company that we admire a lot. And this guy said a lot of things to us. And I was like, pretending to, like, oh, it's okay, you can like say bad things about my baby, no problem. My baby's ugly, no problem. And they said awful things, and we left the meeting thinking, we got to change this. Yeah, it's something that we need to do. And our next version that will be, it will be launched in a couple weeks. We'll have like separate this. You can have content, and you also can have the two if you already have content. It doesn't make any sense to make companies only buy content from us if they have the problem of content creation, content management. So that's what the awful meeting was really like eye-opener, really interesting. And these are the sort of things that only happen if you talk to people that had like not one or two or 100, sometimes they had 500 startups or 800 startups that passed through them, and they saw a lot of companies like ours, a lot. And they know things we cannot know at this stage right now. And when we were here last year for Brazilian Demo Day, we heard that we had passed this program that we applied for, that I didn't even remember that we had applied for. I applied on a Friday night, real quick, did a video, like we did that a lot, right? Because we are bootstrapped. We don't have any funding, and we participated of 3 programs. So applying for programs was something that we did like, I think, thrice or 4 times in our story. And we did that in a Friday night for 500, and I was like, okay, they won't look at us. We're almost 2 years. We already have these and these. We're a company here in Brazil. Yes, we want to expand to the US, but you have to do that in our way. Okay, but let's do that because that shot we have to give. And we did that, and when we are here, we received this email. Oh, you got an interview. 500 has 2 stages. You have to apply, and the next stage is an interview with the founders. They have 3 interviews, 15 minutes each, and they really recommend it to be here, like be here and have the interview in person. We were here. That was such a, like, come on, we know this interview is happening and we're already here in San Francisco. The interview is on a Monday. We were flying back to Brazil on a Sunday, the day before. So I was like, okay, we'll have it on Skype, and I thought we won't get in anyway, so it's okay. And we talked to this guy called Samir Patel, who is a mentor for 500 startups, and I think you may know him. And Samir is a growth hacker, and he has a lot of great insights on growth hacking. We were talking about that earlier. And he said, no guys, you gotta stay. You gotta change your ticket and stay here. And I'm like, Samir, I'm a bootstrap company. It's 4,000 reais to change my ticket. Do you know what I can do with 4,000 reais? In Brazil, it's a lot. Yeah, it's like $1,000. So I can do a lot with 4,000 reais. And he said, no, that's growth. It's an investment for your company. Change the ticket. So we did that. We were here for the interview. We had a really awesome 15 minutes interview the first time. The second interview was a shitty 15 minutes. The third interview were 3 minutes. We were there for 3 minutes with Dave McClure. And we left thinking, either we are in or we're really out. Who has 3 minutes interviews? So we went back to Brazil, to our awesome team of 25 people that are really engaged, and forgot about that. 2 weeks after that, we got another email saying, yeah, you're in, you're going to 500 startups. It was the weekend of, I think, Christmas.
Yeah, week
Yeah.
before Christmas.
Yeah, the day before Christmas. So yeah, it was a really nice Christmas.
Gifts.
Yeah, gift.
But that was not the first time you applied for 500 startups. You had applied months before, right?
Yes, I had applied 1 year before.
Yeah.
In 2014, we applied 2014, we got in, and we applied 2013. But we had met Betty, which is a founder, Betty Young, who was there in Santa Catarina, preparing us for that mission I told you before, that mission that we came here for. She prepared us with our pitches and what to expect from Silicon Valley. And by the way, 500 has their applications on. And we did the application the first time. And it went to, nothing happened. So the second time we applied, I thought, oh, it will be the same.
Did Betty find you, or you found Betty?
No, she found us through this program, this mission became here, the year previous. It was from Sebrae, which is a government agency that helps. You must know them, yeah, of course. They are also together with Apex. And Sebrae was like bringing and helping startups from Santa Catarina to come here to Silicon Valley and to get to know the environment here and to present their companies here. Back then we had 30 clients. We didn't have any traction yet. We are testing still, and yeah, it was an idea mostly. What gets you, I think, the attention of incubators like 500s mostly is when you show traction, when you show that you can pull your business from the ground and up, and how fast you do it, even if they don't like your idea too much, if you show that you have that guts and you have that you found the ways, they will at least listen to you. I think that's, yeah.
You must be hustler, as they say.
Yeah, I must be a hustler, as they say. Yeah. That's how we came here. That's our story. One other thing that I'm really proud of, besides our writers database and our awesome customers and all nothing would have happened if I hadn't looked after the people I admired back then, like going to Elton and his partners. One of his partners is still a mentor for us. He's a great guy in Brazil. Like if you say B2B in Brazil, you will say his name. After that, bringing people on board that are really interested in growing something from scratch and have these values that I share, and we now have, we can put together these values now, like have meetups and develop workshops and things that we cannot do when you're just starting, and now we can it's a luxury to do that, and we do that with our team, and we put together the values we follow and we've always been following, which is defy your limits, togetherness, and enjoy the ride, things that we've been living through. And yeah, I think I'm really proud of the people that work with me, that work along with me, these other 25 entrepreneurs that are crazy enough to, like Val, like Elton, that are crazy enough to put this idea together and keep growing. I was talking to Marco from Viva Real, and he said something really interesting to me 5-10 minutes ago. Oh, I've been to Viva Real since the beginning, and I've been to 5 Viva Real, because the company has been in like 5 stages at least. I feel that now, like we have 2 years, we grew from a solo entrepreneur to 5 people, and then 10 people, and now we have 25 people in Brazil and growing operations here. It's always a startup. You always have things to figure out. You always have problems to solve and challenges to face and a lot of opportunities to grow and a lot of things to do, a lot of people to help. So yeah.
That's awesome. So, no, thank you. Thanks, Emelia. So, besides the awesome entrepreneur that Emelia has proven herself to be, and besides the awesome company that she's building and she's letting build to the level right now, I have a lot of respect for Emelia because for more than that, and that being being a female entrepreneur, it's not easy. There's a lot of talk about diversity in Silicon Valley right now. That's saying it's a white boys club. It's when it comes to Silicon Valley and technology, it's white and Asians. But they're working at it. They're working at opening it up to be more inclusive and bring in Hispanics and then bring in African Americans and bring in other diverse groups. But anyway, so so what's amazing is it's being a female entrepreneur, from another culture, and then coming in and not being a developer. She's not a developer. She was a journalist. I love that part, how you do not necessarily have to have that tech background that a lot of people sometimes think you need. No, but against any of those scenarios, I think you can pull things together and more, and she was able to do that. So I love that fact, and that's the best part of the story for me. So you can put it all together. So we can open up for Q&A. If you can just please hold on. So we want to cover Gabriel too. So we do have the contact information for both Emelia and Gabriel there. If you guys want to reach out to them, or if you guys are tweeting and all, we use the hashtags foreign startups. And but otherwise the contact info is there. So let's hear from Gabriel. Gabriel has a very interesting startup on the legal side of things, and how to cut the red tape and that exists in the Brazilian market. But I would love to learn more about it.
Sure. It's a pleasure. First of all, thank you, Evan, for the invitation. I think we are always privileged to be here in Silicon Valley. From the environment that we have here, it's crazy. Most of you guys are not from the United States, so you know that in our former countries we don't have this culture of sharing, and this kind of events are super powerful for our companies and for ourselves as entrepreneurs. Amelia shared a great story about her Contentools, what I started to admire. I'm already a client. And Linte is a bit different. I'll tell my story. It's a bit shorter. So I'm anxious to jump to the Q&A. So I'll try to make it as quick as possible. I'm a lawyer. I'm a former lawyer in Brazil, and I know that lawyer sucks. So I try to avoid speaking about law and legal industry in Brazil, and tell about more why did I decided to start Linte and what I've learned during this crazy path. One very important thing that I would like to recap on your speak, Emilia, was you said that you never thought about making and creating a company, and that's the most important thing. I don't know how many of you guys here in the audience are founders, but the most important thing about entrepreneurship and creating your own startup, you don't start something just because you have a great idea. You start it because you just can't handle anymore. You must do it. I started my company because I could not live anymore working for other people's dreams. I was using a suit inside of a huge company, a multinational company in Brazil, and my mom she cannot believe that I quit my job. I cannot explain to my grandma what I do. I cannot she just can't believe, because I had a great career as a lawyer. And I just decided to burn all the bridges and start by myself. It all started when I was 12-year-old. I decided to make staples and things for stationery things in Brazil. And I decided to sell things. I didn't have any instructions from my parents. They hate entrepreneurship. They wanted me to work for a big company and stuff. And I always been a big fan of technology. And I decided to create websites and stuff, and I worked for a marketing company, and then to make it short, I worked when I was 14 years old. I worked for an ERP software in Brazil, implementing software and training people. And I decided that I'd love to work with people, and that's what I decided to study law. You know, I loved to make contact and talk to people, and helping them get in touch with technology was a great thing to do in that time. And afterwards, like during college, I tried to do something related to entrepreneurship as well. Many of them failed, of course. And what else? I created a company when I was like 21 years old, a digital marketing company, while I was working as an intern for big law firms. And someday in my life, I decided to make like, I want to create an impact in the legal industry. I was working as an intern for like big law firms in Brazil, and then I became a lawyer in a big law firm. Then I went to a multinational company, and things were going right. But like legal industry in Brazil, and that's where Linte comes from, Brazil's a crazy country. Like, it's a sue-friendly country. Companies there receive like 30,000 lawsuits a month. If you buy something, if you don't receive it in the day you expect to sue, you can sue the company and say to the judge that you are super unhappy because of that, and you can earn like $20,000, $10,000 in a lawsuit because of your action. It's crazy. And when I saw that like it was super hard to prioritize things and the cost of the litigation management was crazy, I decided to look for the world and see what legal tech industry were creating, and then what I could do to bring that to Brazil. What I did is like I started in the company I worked in. I started an automation project inside to test it. And then when I decided to quit the company, it was like a super hard decision, personally speaking, because as entrepreneurs, we feel sometimes alone ourselves. If you don't have support from your family, from your girlfriend, it's kind of like a lone decision. So I decided, I had support from my family. I decided to move from my original town to São Paulo, which is for those guys who don't know, is the biggest city in Brazil. And I decided to start validating and researching the market deeply to become an expert in legal tech. I traveled to the United States in 2014 to study marketplace here, to study document assembly and other tools that were transforming legal industry here, and how could we solve the problem that companies were having in Brazil. What I did, I'm not a technical founder as well. As I told you, my background is law, and it's hard to start a tech company without a technical founder as well. So I was desperate to have the team, and I thank God I could find great, my team, my co-founders are awesome. And back then, I had to do what's very important for you all to have in your minds. Don't feel like, oh, I don't have the skills I need to do that. Go by yourself and test it. You know, I used to sell a dream that I could have a document assembly tool, but the document assembly was myself. I was doing everything on Google Docs, and I used to send forms for people to fill. And then there was no technology. It was all myself. I was calling, and for you to better understand the powerful of the tool that we created, different from the other startups that are in the batch, we are super early stage. Linte was founded in November of 2014, after this validation of the market in Brazil I did. We created a document assembly and a marketplace for solicitors that helps companies to save up to 70% of the litigation management expenses they have monthly basis. So companies in Brazil were expending $400 every time a single client decided to sue them. And through our software, we can better manage the legal issues and help them to settle faster, to relate with their lawyers in a more secure and faster way, and then to hire solicitors without relying on the lawyers to do logistics, not alone. So instead of going deeply into the tool, I would like to share about what I've learned during this short period of time that I decided to found, like gather the team, and like out of a sudden I couldn't expect that fast. I'm here in the US, being part of 500 startups. What happened? How could I do that? The most important thing is like, don't stop believing in yourself. You hear no tons of times. You must believe that you can do that, otherwise no one will believe, you cannot sell your product if you don't believe in what you are creating. Sorry about my English, by the way. And I've learned some things like if you are like creating startups here in the US, you must like have a mindset like default to yes, you know, like be helpful, give first, don't expect much for people, and then things are going to start happening. 500 was a great surprise. I met Badgie Young in an event in Brazil, and I pitched her my product because one of my advisors introduced ourselves in an event, a corporate event in São Paulo, and I pitched her for like a minute, and then she decided to exchange contact with me. I sent my presentation, and then she said, "Oh, the application is open, apply." But she had already liked the product and the market. We are talking, just for you to have the picture, it's a $27 billion market just in Brazil. People are wasting lots of money, and that's what the product decided to solve. And like when 500 saw that there were like a great team with like a business oriented guy, myself, and my co-founders, which are like technical and product oriented, they decided to give us a chance. And like it's been super important for us to be here to improve the product distribution, which they are most like great doing that. And well, it's a great pleasure to share this story with you guys. Let me show you if I had anything that I didn't say that I wanted to. No, I think that's all. I believe in something that it's always be curious, like always ask. You're going to be judged, especially here in the US. For us that are not from here, like as I told you in the beginning, this is a very uncommon culture. Even the US, if you go to New York area, it's not like that. What we have here is a super powerful community that can share experiences and make your companies. Otherwise, you're going to invest here to open your company and to like start your business and run your business here, or you're going to return to your country and run your business there. Try to learn as much as possible of what happens here to export this culture to your foreign startups. I myself, I'm bringing to Brazil some of the learnings I'm having here, and I expect sooner I'll maintain an office here, and I expect sooner to get to American market as well. Being curious is the best way, the best advice I could ever give someone. Ask questions a lot. I think that's it.
Did you go through the same review process with 500 startups?
No, it was a bit different. Linte is a bootstrap company as well, and I didn't have money and time to come as Emilia said. She was already here, I wasn't. So I took the chance to do a Skype interview, and it was super hard. Like English is not my native language. It's hard to explain. It's a super complex product. Explaining the product for like people that don't understand the legal industry in Brazil is hard. But I had pitched to a founding partner, a managing partner before, so I had this advantage. But it's still like it's possible to do by Skype. But as Emilia told you guys, like doing it like alive, like in person is much better.
What do you think is the one key factor that made Linte clear the review process and become a part of it?
Having an absolute clear vision of the roadmaps of products and like having validated the market, having validated the product, interviewed users, but like the key factor is like we had a clear value proposition with a super inefficient market and big market. And like with the business model defined, we had the pricing model, the business model, a paying customer already. So like in 1 month, in less than 1 month, we got a huge client in Brazil. And we like this. My success story is like my first client was expending 10% of its revenue in litigation management. We could like make things internally, and it could save up to 70% in less than 1 month. So the software is proven to be efficient that way. So when I told 500 founders, like, that's a huge market, we must solve this problem, otherwise someone will do that. The technology tsunami in legal industry, it's happening, and I wanted to be part of it, to create the impact I dream of being part of.
So for both of you, is the goal 500 startups vision is for you to capture the Brazilian market, or to actually go beyond the Brazilian to Latin American and American and other?
I think vision is something that an entrepreneur has. They will not interfere with that. I think what capture their ears for both of us seems to be that we have what we read or what we heard in every lecture we go to, every speech, but we have a clear vision, as Gabriel said, of what we do, of what we see in the market, the problem we see, that we are the ones to solve that problem, that we are willing to, and we have proven ourselves to do that before. And also, of course, these proven numbers that will show that, and the vision that we have for our product, for our companies.
Yeah,
actually.
I gotta jump into this question. It's like 500 invest in, my perspective is like, and trying to answer your question more objectively, it's like they are totally focused on investing on companies that they can help on distribution. Like, if they see that their expertise in distribution can be helpful for you, they definitely are going to open doors for you.
Dependency on the market.
Specifically, if you can expand to the US, better. But like they have like a great distribution team. If they can help you improve your distribution model in your own market, it's done. It works too.
Excellent. Love that service. I have a lot of questions, but I want to open it up to the team. Dennis, Maureen,
Yes.
you.
2 questions. You both are, first question to you. You jumped into entrepreneurship unprepared. You've been CEO for 2 years now. What was the single toughest lesson that you had to learn in these 2 years? And second question to both of you. You're both with 500 startups. What is it that makes 500 startup so special beyond its only money? What is it that they bring more to the table for you?
I'll answer the first one.
Second's
Okay.
mine.
Thank you for this question. It's always good to rethink things and to. I learn every day. One of the toughest one is to believe in myself. That's something to learn every day. I learn a lot. I hear that from other entrepreneurs that have been in this world much longer than I. And I heard that from a guy that sold his company for $2 billion today. And not today, I heard today, he sold his company before, but, and he said the same, like, you gotta trust your guts, you gotta trust yourself, you gotta trust yourself. No one knows your company, your vision, and your market better than you. So that's something to learn every day. Another thing that helped a lot to me, especially because I'm a journalist, was to learn everything tech and everything process. Like everything I can consume and notice in people that work with me. I gather myself with the best people I could find and that I could like working with. I create this, like, it's like a family. You spend time with these people more than you spend with your parents or sister, brothers, and spouses. Not in my case because I work with my spouse. But that's it. You have to really like spending time with these people. And I was talking to you guys before. I miss them. I miss these guys. You know, the 25 that are in Brazil. I love the people that are working here with me as well. It's people that will absolutely, and I did that, invite my birthday party and want to party with them and want to have a coffee with them and want to work all day with them. So that's something that I notice in these people that I admire. How do they do it? How do they solve problems? How do they think and not say, oh, this is an issue? No, they think, how can I solve it? And the way they process that and how they do that like in a scalable way, that always attracted me, and that's something that I see myself doing a lot more now than I used to 2 years ago. The second question, to be honest, that can sound wrong, and don't get me wrong, but I didn't come to 500s for the money. Actually, the money to us.
Nobody does.
No, yeah. Let me explain. The amount of money they put in our business for us, it wouldn't be worth it to be here if it was like, oh, come to San Francisco, this is the money, nothing else. I would think twice, thrice, 5 times before doing that. It's expensive to live here. It's expensive to have operations here. Only the money doesn't pay itself. I came to 500s, yes, because of their distro expertise, like their human resources. These mentors, these people that if you meet him, it's crazy. And not only, and I'm not talking about knowledge or information that you can get elsewhere. I'm talking about their willingness to really help you. Like we have other 500 entrepreneurs in this room, and I'm sure they will agree with me. My POC, my point of contact there, my mentor, is a guy that used to own a Contentools in the Middle East. So I'm like, oh my God, they put me in contact with someone with all this expertise that went through all the problems I would go through, and the way he solved is different from the way I solved. It's amazing. One of my first meetings there, like the second week I was there, I was really having troubles selling to customers here because my English, and all the stuff you already said, and I was really struggling. And I used to go to meetings with clients there in Brazil, and I was like, it's the best. It's what I love to do. And here it was painful, and I was really struggling. I talked to this guy there. His name is Matt Ellsworth. He's a comedian. He's awesome. And I talked to him, and he coached me into how to sell to customers here. And in the end, he said, you know what? If you want to, I can go with you. You have a meeting tomorrow? I'll go there with you, and I'll check if it's really the English that's coming through. And I was like, Jesus, this guy is offering his time, his valuable time, to go with me to a meeting.
The team is so hands-on. Like
I'm like, oh my God! I came to our table like with tears in my eyes. I was like, wow, I feel like home there. To be honest,
I can definitely add to this answer 2 points. Like from this perspective, the distribution team and also the staff and the ERRs they have are super hands-on. They go and they understand. They are super worried about understanding your product, your market, and they really go with you and do stuff. I couldn't value this. It's amazing.
yeah.
And for me, the most important thing, the most valuable asset that I'm getting out of the program is the network, the 500, what they call 500 family. I must admit that the brand opens some doors and helps you get to some places. But what's for me it's the most valuable thing about being part of it is like connecting to previous founders, connecting to mentors.
They're all amazing.
We have a dashboard. What we have access is like we mail someone. Like you can talk to whatever you want, whoever you want. Like everyone is like one step connected to the network. It's super powerful network. So it's like it's crazy. That was the most important thing.
Both of you are from backgrounds which are not tech, and you mentioned that that hasn't stopped you. So how did you go about in your journey finding out or connecting with technology partners for your companies? How did you go about identifying? Did you get people here?
To be honest, I had it easy. I had it easy because of Elton, because of his incubator, accelerator, something later that they created. That had like, in the beginning it was, I think it was 5 or 6 companies in the beginning, and 3 took. Contentools, Decorado, that is a marketplace for architects. They are opening operations here in the US as well, in Miami. And Movia, which is like 100 times better than Basecamp in my opinion. They were sold to another company in Brazil, and other companies that didn't work out. And so their network there, like it was a tiny one, but they put me in contact with the guy that is now my CTO. The guy that I dreamed about, like having this guy on board, and in the beginning I couldn't have him. He was just a mentor for other junior tech guys, or junior developers, and he was like coming on board step by step, and now he's our CTO, and I feel blessed, but I have it easy. It was network mostly.
I have a totally different experience. For me, it was super fucking hard. São Paulo is like crazy. You don't have qualified people because you're already working for Facebook, Google, and big companies like Oracle. It's crazy. But I was lucky because my mentors and like some of my partners were like super hands-on on like introducing me to people. And I had a relationship with Carlos, which is my CTO now, and he was working for e-commerce. He was a former CTO of a startup and then an e-commerce.
Really cool e-commerce.
I talked to like, I would say 100 developers probably during like some months before launching the product. While I was, I don't know if you remember, I told you like, I was received by the major bank in Brazil, a big mobile phone operator, the first client doing this MVP and validating stuff. And while I was doing that, I say, this will stick as a software. I need to sell this dream to someone else. And I talked to many guys. Like I had a guy helping me out putting a website online. And when I saw that Carlos like was like, he felt the powerfulness of the software, and he said, "Oh, I want to join this team." And I didn't say that like. Then we discussed it, like equity and options and stuff, because first of all you must sell it, because I would never be able to pay the salary that he could gain in a big company. I would never be able to pay my head of product the amount of money that he deserves. He has a master's degree in UX and artificial intelligence. It's like he could be like has a great salary in big companies, and selling the vision is the most difficult part. I would recommend talk to as much people as you want. It's like a marriage. Like you must find someone that has complementary abilities. In my case, we are totally different. We have political, like everything is different. We have different visions, but the values are the same. We believe in the same thing and want to create the company because of the same reasons. So that this connected us strongly enough. So like, although like we think different, it's super funny because like we fight a lot in the conference room, and then we go out and have beers and talk about life. It's crazy.
Just like marriage.
Yeah, I'm privileged to have them with me. Yeah.
Thanks for your speech, guys. It's great. But so I'm a recent graduate, and I moved here recently, like 2 months ago, and I've been on a crossroad between starting my own company and working for big corporations. And I guess with startups and big corporations, people are your biggest asset. So I was wondering, you know, if I decide to take the road of starting my own network, I kind of have my own company, I'll have the fear of missing out on meeting people at a big corporation. So I'm just wondering, what would you recommend if I decide to go into a big business? Is it a mistake, you know? Or is it gonna be better to start my company and build my team with starting that company? You know what I mean? It's kind of...
I know. I did that, both and at the same time. In Brazil, where I started Contentools, I was still working in a corporation. And I did, in the beginning, the validations, they worked like I had meetings with clients like 8 p.m., 9 p.m. And hopefully they were very busy people, and they thought, oh, you're willing to talk to me this at this hour. Great. And I'm like, yeah, great. Like, only time I had. And during the weekends as well. That's a really tough question, because it's something that you gotta feel it, you know? Do you feel ready? And maybe try to start validating your startup, and at the same time build a network. It's really tough to make that decision.
It's like fear of missing out of like both worlds.
Yeah.
For me personally, as like I just graduated from school six months ago.
It's something
so.
that you are really passionate about. Like, if you had to take one off the table, which one would it be?
You gave us two options, like working for big companies and starting your own business, right? Is that?
Yeah, based on like not having that, or being a recent graduate, not knowing who is going to be on my team if I start.
Sure, absolutely. I definitely understand, and I had this like thing in my head too for a long time. When I graduated in 2010, I decided, oh, am I going to like give a shit for this degree, or am I going to start my business? And I decided to work for big corporations, and it was great. I met good people and I acquired experience doing that. But I don't know, probably you're not so convinced about your product yet. And like, I understand that FOMO of like missing the two worlds. I don't know, probably I would recommend you, must talk about more about that, but probably I would recommend you to work for a startup. And then like being connected to the environment.
That's a great advice.
And then, because like, you probably won't meet many entrepreneurs in great corporations, big corporations, but you definitely will meet talented people and definitely hands-on people in startups, and you have lots of opportunities here.
Opportunity even to live that and see if that's the kind of living you want for yourself, because it's not easy. It's something that
it's like product development. Test first, like don't start something without testing and validating. So like, if you want to start your business, pretend that you did and work for a startup for like a month. Do it for a month and you say that, oh, that's the life I want to validate first.
A good friend of mine, she actually just recently left a very cushy job with a law firm in investment banking actually. And they were paying her really well. They have a way of actually, keeping you there with bonuses and all. And her vision was to start something on her own on the culinary side or on your food side. And she started a food truck. She left an investment banking job to start her own food truck. But I met her and she said, I've never been happier.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I like this. And also, another thing you have to think is that, am I willing to not have a paycheck for maybe 1 or 2 or 3 months in a row? Because that can happen. I heard from other entrepreneurs, oh, we never missed a team member paycheck. We never missed a team member paycheck. We have missed lots of founders' paychecks. And that happens, so that's something I have to.
At the end of the day, entrepreneurialism is not for everyone, but then Silicon Valley is not for everyone either. If you're here, you got to be ready for the big things. Questions, guys? Yeah.
I have a question about growth. You've started successfully, you've validated it, you've gone into founding a startup, so check. Lots of people who want to start their companies probably dream to be in this position, and you're getting interviewed, which is great. But then the next step is growing your company especially in the US. How are you thinking about how you're going to do that successfully? How are you going to stand out from the crowd? And what's your ambition?
What's your ambition, is that?
Ambition, how big do you think you can actually get?
Contentools will be the content marketing software. We don't have an answer for content marketing yet. We have a few platforms and services doing some parts of content marketing. Oh, I can go to creation here, and maybe if I want management, I have these solutions and these 5 tools I can use. We have a one-stop shop for content marketing for medium businesses, and we want to be the synonym of content marketing for US market and perhaps the whole globe. That's my ambition. How we'll do that is by validating the markets we're interested in, and also growing through, especially content marketing, I mean inbound marketing for scale. We here are using both worlds, inbound and outbound marketing, which is also a trend. But for growth, for growth hacking, inbound marketing, inside sales is a really good couple for us in Brazil. I think it can happen here as well.
Like, I'll quickly answer that, and like, every single software, legal software that there has been developed in Brazil are dedicated to lawyers and law firms. Linte wants to be the first one. Linte is the first one developed for companies, and I definitely want to grow in this segment. Our software, our client is the company, is who pays the bills. Like, I personally want to cause a great impact in legal industry. Changing a perspective that lawyers are damaged to your company. You know, like for lawyers, the worse your company is, the better for them, because they get more money. The more lawsuits the company gets, the richer the lawyer is. So I want to change that. That's the impact, and that's where we're heading to. Like, our distribution model changed because of that. Our pricing model changed because of that, and we are eager. Going to attack this industry from this perspective, you know. The number of lawsuits and contracts and documents generated in the platform are growing, and definitely after we see that the companies are eager to change the way they pay their lawyers and they relate them with the legal sector, we want to expand it for other countries as well. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, you did. Any particular challenges you're facing with that?
Sure, absolutely. We were talking this right before the talk starts. Like, legal sector is super conservative. Their softwares were built in 1997, 1999, and they use Internet Explorer. They have offline softwares. They don't know what cloud-based is. They don't know what SaaS is. Which is a challenge and an opportunity, because once they start using a software with better practice of usability, of UX, and design thing, I love design, and like when I present to lawyers, like, oh, you can manage your lawsuits this way, and like, whoa, I didn't know that. So it's an opportunity too, you know. It's difficult to get into that, to sell, but when I do, it's great. The feedback has been great.
Any questions? Yes, okay. So if there are no more questions, one thing I would advise you guys all is it's who you know. You heard that before, so it's who you know. And who you know doesn't have to be your mom, dad. That's good if it is, but you know, people that matter, right? So not everybody knows Dave McClure, right? But if you know Emelia, you know Gabriel, at least you are one step closer to Dave McClure. That's how I see it, right? So on the right we have their Twitter handles and their contact info, and you guys should definitely connect. And I appreciate you guys coming over. It's wonderful and really good insights. I learn a lot every time, so I really appreciate that time. Thank you. So just one more thing is, so from time to time we really have a very interesting member base, and from time to time we have members actually reach out to us and say, you know what, I'm here today and I'm gone tomorrow, and literally and figuratively. Like in the sense, like they're leaving San Francisco in 3 days and they're here for a meeting. So Stephen here came here, I think, you know, I just found out, but you're here for a meeting with Facebook, and I don't know if I'm supposed to tell this or not, but I did. I'm sorry if I did.
You already did, so go ahead.
And Facebook invited him.
That's true.
That doesn't happen a lot. So there is some connection. So good things are happening. The reason I wanted to mention one more thing is we have one entrepreneur here who actually wanted to come, and he's here for a very few days. He has some meeting with investors, but he has a very short time frame, and he wanted to take this pedestal to just briefly talk about his product and the concept. And I'm talking about Talat, so if you guys are okay, I want to bring him here and just briefly talk about your product. Yeah.
Do you want to set up?
Well, what we're doing is I make it very short, very cheesy, very short. What's up for money? We're doing what Apple Pay does, but we do it right. I'm not sure everybody heard, but they have huge issues, hundreds of millions of dollars lost because they're building on the credit card, and the credit card is broken. The credit card is broken. It always was broken because you have this little plastic thing, and everything that you need to know to make a payment is actually on this piece of plastic. And back in the 60s when they invented it, they put a magnetic stripe on it and say, hey, you can't read it. But guess what? You can read it if you have a magnetic stripe reader. And since then, everything that they do is they're fixing a broken system. And you can fix a broken system, just like you can fix a broken car. And you can drive this car and keep fixing it, but it gets expensive. And credit card processing and credit card in itself is expensive. They literally invented the chargeback. 50 years ago, 100 years ago, there was no chargeback. You went into a merchant, you paid, and it was paid. Done deal. No reverse. The moment they had this insecure method, they had to fix it. So they invented the chargeback. They had the chargeback. They had to do anti-fraud. They had anti-fraud. They had to do PCI standard, and so forth, and so forth, and so forth. This thing is broken, and we are still building new technology on top of it. And if you build something on a broken system, all you get is a broken system. And we see this with Apple Pay. Well, we try to fix it by not building on it, by doing what Apple Pay does, what Google Wallet does, but from the bottom on open technologies, on Bitcoin, on blockchain, on Ripple. And if you have any more questions, just I'm hanging out here, ask me.
Sure. Stephen is going to be here. Those of you...
I'm in town till, I'd probably take the red eye on Friday night to New York, maybe on Sunday.
I really admire, the resilience and conviction of entrepreneurs. He just flew on 36 hours flight from Uruguay. And he's not...
And I don't ask me why I'm going to Facebook, because I don't know. I don't know. Somebody pretty high up the ladder reached out to us and say, hey, come over, have a lunch with us. I love lunch. So I said, yes, I'm flying in, let's have lunch. Maybe I just get a tour of the campus and clap on the shoulder, and that it. Maybe it's more, I don't know. Don't ask me, I don't know.
Are you wearing a blue shirt?
Huh?
Yeah, you have to wear these.
Yes. I'm in town till Friday. I don't have any appointments here, so very little. If anybody wants to hang out, have a beer or something, just ping me afterwards. I'm happy to. We have an appointment.
We've heard about stories of Mark Zuckerberg actually emailing literally Snapchat founder, and all this, scripts came out.
It's not him.
No, of course. But it seems like it's the Facebook culture where there's people, senior people actually reach out, scouting around companies, and obviously it was a big deal for Facebook and Snapchat, so he reached out directly. But it seems like it's the culture within the company too.
I think it's the culture of what I would call Startup 2.0.
Yeah.
What's happening? I've been an entrepreneur for almost 25 years, successful, unsuccessful, and I've seen the tide changing. And it's amazing how it's now. It's amazing how the networking. It's amazing what you can learn now just by Googling it. When I was starting out, age 16, there was no Google. There was a freaking library, and there were no answers in there. Now, one thing that I do a lot is I reach out to other CEOs and ask them. I ask them, hey, what song are you listening to when you need to get pumped up?
Yeah.
What is it? Are you listening to the cheesy Rocky music, or is it Eminem, One Shot? what is it? And I get very interesting answers and a lot of interesting contacts. So the possibilities that we have to reach out, to learn, and to exchange knowledge that we acquire, and as you said, learning, it's all about learning, are amazing today. Let's do this.
It's a startup 2.0. Works.
Okay. Yeah, forget it.
Like, do you know where is the projector, how to get into projector?
It's okay, I don't think it's a big deal. So I wasn't invited here by Facebook. I just showed up, even used free miles to get the flight ticket because we have no money. We're staying at a hostel. It's a dorm room with 6 more people. I am a almost 32-year-old guy staying at a dorm room in a hostel, and that's startup life. So I'm Gilad, I'm one of the founders of Cups, which is a coffee subscription app for independent coffee shops. Who here likes coffee? Yeah. And the rest are lying, right? You can't live without coffee. It's funny to do a presentation without having the presentation, because I see the slides, they're all in my head.
Can you email? Can you email or?
Sure, it's not as entertaining without me, but yeah, I can do it.
No, email it to and we can open it up on.
Grab it.
Oh.
It's in your notebook. Put it in your legs and shoulders.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
You want to gather around also?
That's fine.
All right. So this is how it would go. You would see this, and then I would ask, who here agrees? Show of hands, the rest are lying. Okay. It's all practice. It's all scripted. Everybody loves coffee, right?
Yep.
Loves is probably an understatement. I know some of the people here wouldn't. Exactly. Wouldn't let a day pass without having at least 1 cup of this beautiful, steamy, delicious, sexy.
Feel like having one, right?
Yeah.
I like
That's gold even.
I like
right?
decaf.
Are you serving coffee after that?
Decaffeinated.
I hope so.
I feel like an AA meeting.
Are you serving coffee?
Decaf is not coffee.
Maybe Stephen and I-
Well, then I don't like coffee.
And this is something else you can't live without, right? And Starbucks, the world's biggest coffee chain, knew that when a few years ago they launched the Starbucks app. To those of you who aren't familiar with the Starbucks app, it's basically a mobile wallet for the Starbucks chain. You deposit money and you're able to buy stuff at Starbucks, and you get rewards and you get levels, and you're a green level and a gold level, and it's all very, very exciting. Today, the Starbucks app accounts for 16% of Starbucks' revenue in the US. That comes down to $2.5 billion going through the Starbucks app every year, which makes it, and that's the mind-blowing fact, the world's most successful mobile wallet. So a coffee company developed the world's, the mobile wallet that has the most money running through it. And this is a fairly accurate display of the US map. Those of you in the back, it's Dunkin' Donuts and Starbucks logos. And at first glance, this is what it looks like, right? These 2 big chains basically dominate the coffee market, which is kind of true. Together, they have around 20,000 locations, by far the biggest chain selling coffee in the States, but there are over 30,000 independent coffee shops in the US. Together, they have $12 billion in revenue. And this is where Cups comes in. Unfortunately for these chains, for these independents, they can't compete with Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts. App development costs are way out of their reach, but that's not the interesting part. They're not united. And because they're not united, even though they're 30,000, they'll never be able to offer the same level of comfort and convenience as the Starbucks app can for example, with its 12,000 locations and impressive biceps. So this is where Cups comes in. We unite independent coffee shops and help them compete with big chains. We do that with a mobile app that's offering unique prepaid coffee plans that basically make it easy, fun, and rewarding to visit independent establishments. So in a sentence, and it's like every startup has to have this sentence to describe it, we're the Starbucks app for all other coffee shops. There's a short video now, but I think I'll skip it. You won't hear anything. For example, we offer an unlimited coffee subscription. That's right. Unlimited monthly fee, and you can get as much coffee as you want in each one of the 150 coffee shops currently working with us in New York City. I live in New York, from Israel, live in New York, but we'll get to that. We launched Cups in Tel Aviv about 2 years ago. We did a really small pilot with 80 coffee shops. It was successful on the unit economic level and business model, but what we found out about Tel Aviv, and we should have known because we grew up there, is that it's pretty tiny. and we could have made the decision to keep working on it and keep expanding it, but after around 8 to 10 months, we realized that the market is just too small. And in order to see Cups' full potential, we need to go to the coffee capital of the world. So, October 2013, I got married. And then 2 weeks later, I left my wife in Israel, not left, but she stayed in Israel. And I came to New York to start working on Cups in New York. Meet people, understand the coffee ecosystem, coffee shops, consumers. Is anyone going to talk to an Israeli with an app in Hebrew? In the beginning, I actually pitched American coffee shop owners with this Hebrew app. They didn't understand why it's written from right to left. But yeah, in the end they were willing. It was Israeli coffee shop owners in the beginning. And last May we launched Cups in New York City. As I said, we work with 150 coffee shops and just closed a seed round. It's going well on all the startup parameters, traction stuff. But when you think about it, the more interesting thing is Cups is essentially the third biggest coffee chain in New York. These are all like East Coast places. Very soon we'll have more locations in the city than Dunkin' Donuts or even Starbucks. We're at almost 60 now. Starbucks is 210. And this is where our vision, it's probably going to change in a month, but right now our vision is, or the more interesting play in Cups is the fact that we have created this coffee chain or a network of independent businesses that united is able to provide its members with kind of the best of both worlds. On one hand, they get the resources, the tools, all the functions of being part of a chain and stuff that were previously only available to chains. But they still get to keep their unique, individual, independent character. So by doing that, we feel that we're kind of leveling the playing field, right? Giving independence, the power of chains, and then making it easier for people to actually visit the places they want to visit with better coffee, better food, whatever.
Awesome.
That's it, yeah. And
I do want to add, if you guys must be following what's happening in the last few years, but there's a big movement in the country for sustainable, organic, natural source, natural ingredients, all that coffee actually. And there's a big movement against actually Starbucks and Starbucks not being allowed to be, because it's obviously it's threatening the business and the growth for the mom and pop shops, but that have been around for years. So there's a big movement against that. So something like that kind of like unites all those independent coffee shops, I mean, it's a big concept. So I think you get good potential.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
An
Any
amazing presentation.
Yeah.
Yeah, congratulations.
You should see it on the big screen.
Yeah, one of the best speeches I've seen. So.
How many cups of coffee you drink a day?
4 to 5. Yeah.
Did you explain why you're here?
We came to do mainly investor meetings towards the A round. Yeah.
And you are expanding outside New York when?
The next city is probably going to be San Francisco, but we feel like we still have more stuff to figure out in New York.
It's Seattle.
And Seattle.
Yeah.
Anywhere with nicer weather. I'm from Tel Aviv. I'm not used to New York. It's horrible.
Especially at this time.
Yeah.
Yeah, Norbert?
I was just going to say, have you heard of Product Hunt?
Yeah, we were on it. We were on it in April when we first week we launched, something like that. Last year.
Okay.
Yeah, and someone told me, "Oh, you're a Product Hunt." I said, "What is it?" I had no idea. It was pretty small
I
then.
saw another company doing that in Melbourne, Australia, which is where I'm from.
I know. Upshot.
Yeah, Upshot, just a month ago. It's very similar.
It's a complete copy. Unfortunately, yeah. We've been around for 2 years. It is, I mean, whatever. I would do the same if I thought it was a good idea. But it's amazing because they actually use our same language in their website and that. Yeah.
Well, credit to you. You should be flattered.
We have the States. They have Australia.
How much is the subscription for unlimited coffee?
So unlimited coffee, it includes, obviously it's for all our coffee shops, you don't just choose one. It includes all drinks that you can get at a coffee shop, and it's $120. But it does give you, as much coffee as you want.
Can that be shared with a friend?
No. So kind of like in New York we have the Metro Pass and the unlimited. You have to wait 20 minutes between slides, so you won't do it to your friends. So same case with cups, it's a half hour between cups of coffee. And the subscription locks on your device, so you can't really share it.
How did you arrive at that $120? You gotta do the math, right?
Yeah.
An average person is spending.
So it's data. Yeah, it's data that we learned from Israel mainly. That's how we got to this pricing, knowing the average, at least guessing the average consumption based on what we saw in Israel and research that we did about consumption in New York. Briefly about our business model, basically we sell these prepaid plans to customers, that's the revenue. We pay the coffee shops per cup redeemed at their place. Because we instantly become any coffee shop's biggest customer, we get a discount on coffee. And the idea with the unlimited plan is to be for the average user to consume exactly that number of cups where he saves money and we still make money.
So that's
the meetings with VCs good?
What's
They were
that?
good? The meetings
He just
with
came
VCs?
in.
Oh, yeah, they're good.
They
They're
were
good. It's still very early. It's mostly meetings of, we just closed the seed round. Look at us, let's talk in 3 months. We're not talking numbers yet.
Okay.
How often do you hear no from a coffee shop, and what's the biggest reason that they say no?
It's a good question. Out of 10 meetings, 7 end in a yes. That's how often. The biggest reason that they say no now is I don't do apps, something like that. It's small business owners. I don't know who here works with small business owners. Most of the times they're super busy with a lot of other stuff that they need to deal with, and they see these apps as kind of this nice to have addition, marketing or loyalty or whatever. So that's the challenge, convincing them, not that cups is good or bad, but good of course, but that they need something like cups. That there is even room now in their life to implement this service and start accepting cups. Another thing is because we're kind of a coffee chain, the coffee shops that join cups see this as a members club, and each coffee shop in it has an effect on the others. So no coffee shop wants to be the best coffee shop on the list, you know what I mean? They want to feel that the others around them, that it's not a lame coffee shop app. That these are actually the good coffee shops in New York. This is an ongoing process. as we grow, we improve the quality of coffee shops.
And then your wife hasn't divorced you yet?
No, no, not yet. She needs me for the visa. That's why I got her.
Well, good guys, you know, I really appreciate it. Thanks guys for hanging around, and you know, it's this was a bonus and add-on, but appreciate you guys coming over. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, it's good.